Hello, welcome to WrestleMania's Basement, past WrestleMania 18 review. I'm Joe. And this is our very own People's Champion, your favorite host, Pat.
I just felt the moment called for an exclamation point of a Destiny pose from Randy Orton. Not the one he does now. I don't know why, but I don't like when he does it now. The Destiny pose.
The same Destiny pose for years.
Yeah, it's more like that now.
Well, Orton wasn't live yet at this for this WrestleMania, so let's go.
Yeah, he was.
Well, he was alive when he was on, so.
Funny thing about this Mania to start off with, too, I actually had the program book for this Mania. And it actually did include two Superstar pages, one for Brock Lesnar and the other one for Randy Orton.
And John Cena. They all debuted this same year, but he didn't go in the book.
No, John Cena was not in the book.
Which is kind of funny now when you think about it.
Yeah. Well, anyway, WrestleMania 18. This is the second WrestleMania from the Toronto Skydome, or I think it's now called the Rogers Center.
It's in between the two best WrestleManias of all time. Good luck.
Yeah. I think... I'll hold that opinion later. This was actually the higher of the two attended Manias, or what WWE said. It was around 65,000. And it was headlined by Triple H versus Chris Jericho, and then probably the most memorable match out of this show would be The Rock versus Hulk Hogan. Before any match starts, we're in the traditional national anthem, or America the Beautiful if the Mania was in America. No, it wasn't O Canada, unless there's a completely different name for the Canadian national anthem. I think it's O Canada.
It is.
However, WWE went a completely different route.
Oh, yeah.
Where the band Saliva sang Superstar, a song called Superstar. I guess it's an interesting start to the pay-per-view. The first match was William Regal versus Rob Van Dam. I think I've watched this pay-per-view quite a few times. And last time I think I graded it, I didn't really think all that highly of it. I didn't think it was bad. Because obviously Regal and RVD are great workers, and they can put on good matches. But I guess originally I thought that their styles didn't necessarily clash together in the right ways. However, this time when I watched it, I actually liked it considerably better than I did before. It was RVD won clean with the frog splash in about 6 minutes. I remember it being. I felt the match was really good. Regal did a lot of stuff where he was teasing the power of the punch, and RVD actually got the first of his 5 or 6 WrestleMania wins. He may actually be the current best. He may be the owner of the best record of WrestleMania nowadays because of Taker having 2 losses. But I digress. Good match from RVD and Regal. And I gave the match a... Sorry, just going back and forth on my phone with my notes. I gave the match a B. Again, I liked it much better this time than I did in previous times. I thought it aged a lot better.
He's 4-0.
He's 4-0. The next match was DDP versus Christian. The story came about with Christian having these temper tantrums that he kept on losing, and DDP tried to put him on the right path. And on a SmackDown a couple weeks beforehand, DDP helped Christian get the win with a diamond cutter, and Christian started celebrating, and eventually he would turn his back on DDP, saying he never needed him and all that stuff. The opening promo before this was pretty funny with Christian's facial expressions.
Oh, yeah.
Imitating DDP, just that If you have seen my picture of Matt Riddle, with me and Matt Riddle, it's literally what Matt Riddle is doing in our picture. I actually may have never put that on Twitter, but I may actually put it this week to show somebody. I don't think Christian was high, though. Matt Riddle probably was.
No, he was. He was a teammate.
Okay.
Well, he didn't tell us. If you see my picture of Matt Riddle, which is at least on social on Twitter, then you just see the post. You see that post.
So anyway, for the European title, it's Diamond Dallas Page versus Christian. Again, I thought this match was actually aged better for me.
What's the time you watched this? Like 2013? When we did all the Manias?
Yeah, when we ran through all the Manias
before we went
Mania 30, I think.
Oh, Mania 30, okay, so 2014, okay.
I think that was the last time we did it.
Okay.
Well, anyway. I felt this aged a lot better for me now. I felt this time they actually did, well, not this time, but this time I think I saw it a lot better that they were actually going back and forth, and they were actually doing a bit quick pace, which I actually didn't realize DDP was actually at a quicker pace like that than I thought he was.
Right.
But still, I believe Christian tries to hit the Unprettier at the time, the kill switch. DDP rolls out of it. I think they go back and forth a few times with them trying to like switch finishing moves, and then DDP literally hits him with a diamond cutter. That looks a lot for like the RKO that time.
Yeah.
It's slightly different on the delivery, but this time DDP wins and retains his European title. I gave the match a C+. I didn't really know how to count this next one. It's I guess officially.
Gold.
Well, actually, I'll get to the match a little later. It's the very next thing up we saw was Jonathan Coachman and The Rock, and this Rock promo is actually pretty memorable because it's him trying to get Coach to pray to God, and Coach this time during his prayer says, "What up, G?" And he kicks them, and Rock's great at those set-up interview promos. But the next match is for the Hardcore title, and it's Maven versus Goldust. However, I sort of lumped everything that happened with the Hardcore Championship together. I probably won't ever count this as a match going forward. Like, we're doing our favorite pay-per-view matches of all time. This probably will make that list, just because it's sort of more segments lumped together than anything else. But still, it's really entertaining stuff. And plus, if I actually tried to rate the match, it probably wouldn't be that high on itself. But for those of you that don't know, the Intercontinental, the Hardcore title was under the 24/7 rule, which means it could be defended anywhere at any time, as long as there was a WWE official present. And obviously the championship. Maven Goldust, it was sort of okay. It was almost a forgettable Hardcore match. However, the stuff that would go on throughout the night I think, really helps me up the memory of the match. I guess I'll go through them as they go on. But all the Hardcore stuff, if you want me to rate it, it's an A+. Goldust gets whipped into a trash can on the outside, I believe. Then all of a sudden, Spike Dudley comes out with a ref and covers Maven for the pin. In the post-match, Crash Holly runs out, and Spike Dudley runs all the way to the back. This time, you get a different performance from the band Drowning Pool. Their most famous song would be "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor," which would be used earlier this year for the Alliance, or earlier the year before for the Alliance. However, this is in fact not that song. It is called "Tearaway," and it's a video package. It's used as a video package for Jericho and Triple H.
That's one of my favorite songs by now.
Literally, the only part I remember is "I don't care about anyone else but me."
So yeah, that's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, that's the only part I recognize from my childhood.
Want me to do my cover, "Let the Bodies Hit the Floor" forever?
No, I don't think anybody wants that. However, for a video package, they really didn't focus on the video package all that much. They more or less focused on Drowning Pool.
What is Drowning Pool?
Yeah, but they weren't like performing their theme song for Team Alliance.
But it is Drowning Pool. The top vocalist of the...
No offense if you're a fan of Drowning Pool or, in fact, are a member of Drowning Pool, but I don't think the performance was necessarily needed.
It's first on me. It's like the Super Bowl but with less names. Lots of big time names.
This one was a performance for a video package.
Good point.
Well, anyway, we go backstage to where Crash Holly and Spike Dudley are fighting in the back. They're fighting like right in the backstage with a bunch of cardboard box wall, just right there. They're fighting back and forth. All of a sudden, you just see Al Snow in a golf cart with Teddy Long, mind you, since he is in fact a WWE official. They drive straight past Spike Dudley, I believe, and they crash into the cardboard boxes. We don't see them for a while. The next thing we know, Hurricane swings on a rope, kicks Spike, who's the champion, gets the pin 1, 2, 3. The Hurricane is your hardcore champion for the moment. The next match is Kurt Angle versus Kane. This is one of the matches I usually go back and forth on. I remember when I watched it live during the pay-per-view itself. I remember I really liked it. Then I think I watched it again when I got right back into wrestling, and I didn't like it as much. And then a couple years ago, I liked it again.
Okay, so it's going back to 2007.
And yeah, now it's back to where I don't like it as much. It is a fine match. It just... I'm not sure why it happened, to be honest.
The match was made 2 nights or 3 nights beforehand on SmackDown.
I'm guessing because Kane and Kurt Angle didn't have anything to do for Mania.
Yes.
Which was oddly a trend back in these Manias. Because 17, he was... Angle and Benoit was literally just, what do we do with these two? I don't know. They're good workers. Put them in a match.
Yeah.
I think that was literally the booking. I don't know. They're good workers. Put them in a match.
Yeah, Angle and Kane, I believe... I think the card got switched too. If I remember correctly. Because someone in the comment section, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was the original card had Austin Hogan on it.
Before Rock and Hogan was announced?
Right, yeah. It was essentially Austin Hogan from Brock was just over Angle. Hall was just on card because they didn't know his state at the time. Nash was just to fight Kane, I believe. But Nash was injured.
Okay.
Well, still. So, Kane, I want to say, because of Nash's injury, and also Hogan, obviously they're clashing in terms of neither one did job to the other. Maybe on the point of the other, they moved Rock to that spot, also got Hall, because Nash was injured. So Kane and Angle were the two odd men out, I believe, because of that.
Yeah, the review I'm looking at here further explanation of the match is there wasn't much of a story here. It was more about two upper mid-card guys having a match because there was nothing else for them to do.
Alright, there's just the condensed version. Why just said?
Yeah. Angle actually wins with a roll up after he reversed the choke slam, and Angle put his feet on the rope for the win. Again, I usually go back and forth in this match. Probably the next time I watch this in 5 years or so, I'll probably really like it again. But it usually switches either between a B or a C. This time it is a C again. The next match is arguably the best wrestled match of the night in Undertaker and Ric Flair. But that is right after some more hardcore title action. With the Hurricane in the locker room trying to hide out so he
One of my two favorite moments on this.
So he can hold on to the title for the night. No, it's not this one. It's not that one. However, he hides behind like a dresser's blind, like where women get dressed behind them, and so they don't walk around naked or whatever.
Godfather's.
Yeah, this is with Godfather's hose. They walk in. Hurricane, before he snuck around the blind, grabbed like a broom or something, just for protection. He hops behind the blind, hiding, holding on to his title. And obviously the women are scantily clad because they're Godfather's hose. And you see the really funny thing with the shadow is the broom goes up right near Hurricane's crotch, and he looks like a perv. And that would literally be his term for it later in the show. And obviously next, Taker versus Ric Flair. This feud actually came about with Undertaker wanting to fight Ric Flair, where Undertaker to the point so badly that he beat up Arn Anderson, and he beat up David Flair in OVW. I thought this match was very good too. So far, the best on the show. Probably the best wrestled match of the night. Only enough for a fact, this would be the first time I realized Undertaker was undefeated at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
When Undertaker went like that at the end. Spoiler alert, if you didn't know, Undertaker won. Yeah, I felt like it felt like a... I guess it took the place of the TLC matches where you got to see all the hardcore spots. Obviously, they didn't go as crazy as those guys did, because first off, Ric Flair doesn't wrestle like that. Second, Undertaker doesn't wrestle like that. However, it had everything you wanted in a Ric Flair street fight. His hair was bloody. Arn Anderson made the interference, oddly in an NWO t-shirt.
Yes.
Which, it is a WrestleMania shirt with the NWO logo on there, saying they're taking over WrestleMania, but it is in fact an NWO logo on there. Arn actually blades too, so double the blood for a Ric Flair match. And Undertaker wins with the tombstone because he couldn't actually get Flair up for the last ride. I gave this match an A. It was a really good match. And also after the match, for some reason, Undertaker clotheslined Charles Robinson. I guess he wanted one last stand on Flair and decided to clothesline old Nate.
Mm-hmm.
The next match is a very interesting one. Is in fact includes my favorite superstar of all time.
Don't
Edge.
tell them. We were doing the reveal of WrestleMania weekend. Ella.
I'm pretty sure I've said Edge is my favorite wrestler of all time.
Well, luckily for you, car's subject to change. So, you might change your mind for 5 weeks.
it's probably not going to change. Anyway, my favorite superstar wrestler of all time, Edge. In a very interesting feud with Booker T. And the reason why it's interesting is because it started with an angle where Booker was trying to get an endorsement for a Japanese shampoo commercial. However, the people behind the Japanese ad decided to choose Edge.
Clearly.
Yes. I guess because Edge has really nice hair.
Sexy mane.
Yeah. I did listen to the Bruce Pritchard podcast on Edge, and they talked about this one. And he said it was more about personal jealousy, but I don't think King or JR actually mentioned personal jealousy. They just kept on mentioning the Japanese shampoo commercial. No knock against JR and King. Because if that was the point, that didn't come across to them whatsoever. I'm probably just gonna go and say this, for Edge being my favorite wrestler, this is probably the most disappointing Mania match he has in his career. To me, it wasn't bad. It just didn't feel like they clicked together. I don't know what it was, but it felt dull, and their chemistry just it didn't have good cohesion together. Edge actually wins. With he sort of reverses into his educator DDT for the win.
Man, Destroy, this is worse WrestleMania match.
Yeah. He has a good track record at Mania. For the longest time, he was undefeated at Mania.
Right.
Until
WrestleMania 24?
Technically 23.
Yeah, 23.
He wasn't pinned until 24. I gave the match a C-.
Yeah, that was his worst match.
Yeah. 19 he would turn the night after.
19 he was out for
No, 19 he was out for a year, yeah.
20
20 returned the night after. 21 the Money in the Bank.
21 Money in the Bank, 22 Foley, 23 Money in the Bank, 24 Andre, 25 Stephen Bishop, 26 Jericho, 27 Alberto, 28 Hall of Fame.
Yeah. So again, my favorite wrestler's worst Mania match. And yes, I kept on calling him my favorite wrestler just to piss him off. Anyway, up next...
Did you forget we were doing those lists? Oh, what?
Yeah, I know.
Well,
up next is probably one of your favorite parts of the night.
yes.
In a backstage area, Hurricane's running through again. Where Coachman catches up and interviews him. This is where he uses the line that he's not a perv. And Mighty Molly Holly as a superhero, jumps into the frame and says she'll help Hurricane get away and points in the direction. Hurricane does a spin and Molly smacks him in the back of the head with a frying pan. And Molly pins him. 1, 2, 3. She's now your current hardcore champion. Yeah, that's just funny shit right there. The next match is Austin versus Scott Hall. I guess that's one way of just segueing into this match.
They're both hilarious.
Yeah. Essentially, this feud started because Vince McMahon injected a dose of poison into the WWE to get what he wanted out of Ric Flair. And the NWO came in.
They were the poison.
They, in fact, were the poison. Then, and the NWO. Yes. They came in. They didn't get, I guess, the respect they were deserved or whatever. And they took multiple targets, and one of them was Austin. Scott Hall and Austin would feud. Scott Hall would attack Austin with the Slinger block to the knee. That somehow bursted into powder on contact. Yeah, and it's been a long time I've seen that, and I saw the second clip they have of showing it, and it literally just in his hands.
Like most center blocks do.
Yeah. You know, the common block law of as soon as it hits something, it shatters.
It actually does.
It actually not so much shatters, but disintegrates. But
it actually does, though.
But I digress.
It does.
Again, well, getting to this match, not an absolute terrible match. I guess it's sort of the same description I could give to Booker and Edge, but I think I see much more understandable reasons in this match. I don't think Scott Hall wrestled necessarily a great match at WCW. At this point, it's been a very long time since he had wrestled one. And maybe just age and stuff was catching up to him. Austin, this was also at the very tail end of his career as well. This would be his second to the last Mania match, and probably on the short list of being one of his last matches in WWE. I mean, again, just something didn't click. I'd literally put it slightly better than Edge and Booker because of Scott Hall's selling of the Stunner, which was very athletic and just a straight arc back like that. And but yeah, it wasn't necessarily the best match. Definitely probably not the best match Austin could do at that point. Maybe up there for Scott Hall, who again, I guess his career winded down a lot more than Austin's would. I give this match a C, just slightly better than Edge and Booker. The next thing would be the tag team title match. It would be Four Corners Elimination, Billy and Chuck versus the Dudley Boys, versus the Hardys versus APA, with Stacy Keibler as the Duchess of Dudleyville in the Dudley Boys corner. In the I guess the sort of the streak that the tag team title was having,
right?
I don't think you can absolutely compare this match to those other matches. Yeah, they're ladder matches, but still they're best ladder matches of all time. And this one's not that Bradshaw Farouk are necessarily terrible. They're probably not the best. I don't think you can compare them to Edge and Christian for match quality.
Bradshaw Farouk and Billy Chuck.
And Billy and Chuck, who also aren't bad, but I don't think you can say they can have as great matches if you threw like Edge and Christian in there, or since they were a relative tag team at the same time, Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho.
Right. This should have been harsh as Douglas.
Yeah. But I think that it was another one of those things where then when they get everybody in the card, it's a popular trend for Mania.
Alright, we'll get EPA versus Billy Chuck and the Hardys versus Douglas.
Yeah. One of the memorable parts is Jeff Hardy slapping Stacy Keibler's butt and then kissing her to get her off the apron. Billy and Chuck win this one with a belt shot to Jeff's head, and they win the match by eliminating the Hardys. I believe the order went the APA, Dudleys, and then the Hardys, and Billy and Chuck obviously won. Again, parts of this match were sort of interesting. Others were kind of flat.
I just forgot this was elimination.
Yeah. and this is my least favorite match of the night. I gave it a C minus. I should probably actually cut this one short.
Part 2 of WrestleMania TV up next.
With Hogan and Rock.
With Hogan and Rock.
Up next.
Live. And WrestleMania
right here, right now. People's eyebrow. What you gonna do?